Let's get some immediate analysis from our political panel. David Gazzard, former Liberal advisor, now with DPG Advisory. And Eamonn Fitzpatrick, former Labor advisor, now he's with Fitzpatrick Advisory. David Gazzard, are you comfortable with where the Liberal Party has landed today?
Well, I think it's going to be a difficult thing for the Liberal Party because they're sort of up against the weight of a huge yes vote that goes out not just from the Labor Party but also business and through social media and huge parts of the media. But I think Peter Dutton has asked the right question, and there's still a long way for this campaign to go. Really, essentially, he's still asking, I just listened to Linda Burney there, it's really not about recognition in the Constitution. He's asking for the powers of a voice to Parliament and across executive government. And that hasn't been answered by the Prime Minister, which is quite extraordinary. I worked for John Howard when we went through the constitutional changes around a republic. The government funded the yes and the no campaigns. It was quite even-handed in the way they did that. There was a genuine debate that went across the community, and in this case, we don't have it. And I think Peter Dutton is quite right. While this debate is unfolding across the community and respecting the community, because the Constitution sits above the Parliament. So it is very, very important that the Australian people understand exactly what they're voting for and exactly how the Constitution might bind executive government.
Eamonn Fitzpatrick, where is this at now with the referendum looming likely in October, and now bipartisanship is off the table?
Kieran, this is very messy for Peter Dutton, there's no doubt about that. I mean, the golden rule is you need to be unified. You need to be unified if you are the leader who will be successful. And clearly there's already dissent and people see right through it. There's a bunch of conflicting messages anyway, I think. And off the back of what happened last weekend, this is a very difficult day for him as leader. But ultimately, people do see through it. And I think everything we've seen, increasingly so in recent weeks, is there's growing support for it. Because the truth is, Australia has changed. The tone of the country and its political debate, is much more inclusive now than it has been for 10 years. I mean, that cycle of sort of no and negativity, I think, is over. And I think actually the other mistake Peter Dutton's making is to campaign on a negative. People really look at that and wonder what sort of signal it sends. And I think it reinforces all the criticisms made about him by the Labor Party.
There'll be a handful of Liberals that vote and campaign for the yes campaign in this, David Gazzard. And you even heard from Susan Lee, the Deputy Leader, saying this is not an outright no. We're saying yes to constitutional recognition, yes to a local and regional voice, albeit a legislated one. Is that more nuanced message something that will land, or is it much easier to say what the Prime Minister's doing, and that is vote yes, and that will provide the recognition necessary?
I think Eamonn's right in the sense that the community has moved, but that still doesn't negate the necessity to have a genuine, open, honest, robust debate. Now, go back to the last time there was a referendum around the Republic. The Liberal Party was completely split over a yes and a no vote on that. You had the Treasurer in favour of a Republic and the Prime Minister in favour of maintaining the status quo. But what did we have then? We had the government funding the yes and the no case. There was a constitutional convention where all this was aired. Everyone had a say in it, and we haven't seen that this time. So it's fine to vote with the vibe of the thing, but this has serious consequences for the future of Australia. The Constitution will bind the Parliament. You can't change that. There's no way of getting around that. We need to know exactly, all Australians need to know exactly what the powers of the voice to Parliament will have. And by all accounts, the Solicitor General has written saying that he's got reservations about it, but that advice has not been released. So, if the public have a say in this, as they will, they need to have a say with all the information.